Hello, my angels of the night. It's me, Captain Slime, and the soldiers of the future. Hey, here's what's going on with me lately. I have become sick. I don't think it's COVID. I have developed a cough, and I'm very tired all of the time. And I kind of feel like I'm underwater, and I'm real shaky, which is new. But I don't have a fever, and I have not experienced any of the minor symptoms like losing taste or smell, so pretty confident that it's not that. But on the other hand, I'm also a sufferer of anxiety disorders, so I'm freaking out a little on the inside. But it's also entirely possible, some might say likely, that all of this is psychosomatic. So that's a plus. I'm not saying any of this to make you worry, but rather because I want you to look at this video in context. And that context is that I'm very tired, and also I think angrier than I've ever been, and this script that I've written is very angry, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to perform it as angrily as I should, and also I don't know if it makes any sense. So we'll find out in the comments later. Hey, thanks for watching. Here's the video now. The video's about to start. Get ready. Pro wrestlers have a term called kayfabe that describes maintaining the fiction that pro wrestling is an unscripted athletic competition and not a choreographed entertainment routine. Actors, even method actors, commit to parts while portraying their characters, but professional wrestlers are expected to stay in character at all times, or at least not to do anything that contradicts the fiction of their character publicly. Nobody, aside from maybe some very small children, are fooled into thinking that pro wrestling is real. Don't get me wrong though, it's no less impressive for being fake. What these people do with their bodies to entertain a crowd is unbelievable. And the extra commitment of demanding that they maintain the fiction that they're some sort of muscle maniac for their entire public lives does add something to the show.
I don't care if you got 23 wrestlers around the outside, and it doesn't even matter, no, because I am ready, and I will not let this opportunity slip through my fingers. Cup of coffee, man, yeah. Man!
A lot of it dates back to professional wrestling's origins as a carnival attraction, where the idea was to legitimately fool people. Carnival workers, among other professions, spoke in a dialect called Polari or Parlieri that obscured what they were saying to outsiders. To this day, wrestlers call people outside the wrestling industry marks, like carnies do. Now, none of this is malicious, it's showbiz, it's all for fun. A little bit of the magic would be lost if wrestlers broke character for some reason. It'd be harder to invest in the storyline if they acknowledged how silly they were being the whole time, or how they should probably find some way to settle their disputes without hitting one another with ladders. Jesse the Body Ventura was a professional wrestler and a politician at different points in his life. He was the governor of Minnesota from 1999 to 2003, and also believes that the government has weather controlling satellites.
We got possible weather manipulation through the whole world.
Right.
Now, could it cause hurricanes and earthquakes?
Well, that's very possible. Many scientists...
What you're saying to me, like if we wanted to attack someone, we could actually, with HARP, attack them with the weather?
Right.
He was a WrestleMan, and a governor, and an Alex Jones. Doesn't that seem like don't you think you shouldn't be able to be all of those things? Like, shouldn't these things be separate skill sets? Like, to be a good wrestler, you have to be able to do cool-looking athletic moves and act like a lunatic when you talk about all the cool-looking athletic moves you want to do to somebody. To be a politician, in theory, you'd want to have some sort of civics background. And it's not that a wrestler would necessarily lack the credentials to be a politician, but it just feels really unlikely, right? In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen every world leader, every political party, every company, and every world government just trip over their own dicks constantly. Every little lie they've repeated to us for decades just completely evaporated when the moment came to test their practicality. All of the workers who've been told repeatedly that they're low skill, entry level, they don't deserve a raise, or even a living wage. When emergency strikes, those people are essential workers. And the executives, the people who are allegedly the ones driving the economy, can stay the fuck home and it doesn't make a lick of difference. Now, I've known this for a long time, but it's still shocking to me to see it confirmed so substantively. It feels so surreal to me now whenever I watch a politician or business leader speak during this crisis, because the illusion is completely shattered. I don't know how anybody could go back to believing a word they say. World leaders telling people to disregard epidemiologists, to go out and live their lives as normal, and it'll all just go away on its own?
The virus. They're working hard. Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. I hope that's true. But we're doing great in our country. China, I spoke with President Xi, and they're working very, very hard. And I think it's going to all work out fine. Rough stuff, I tell you, rough stuff. But I think it's going to work out good. We only have 11 cases, and they're all getting better.
Actual heads of state whose best strategy to combat a global health crisis is to just let the chips fall where they may and hope that the rest of us develop an immunity strong enough to keep going. Supposedly serious-minded political analysts and pundits who are saying out loud that we should be willing to sacrifice our health and maybe even our lives for the sake of driving economic growth that, let's face it, none of us will benefit from in the first place. The precarity baked into our system, the precarity that's been used for centuries to keep us in line and hold us hostage to barely subsistence wages and terrible working conditions, has finally gotten to a breaking point. Now, millions of people are realizing that they could lose every last bit of security they had. And when they look to the big shots who said they'd take care of them, their response is a clear and resounding, I don't know what we're gonna do. Oops. Shit's fucked up, man. Every demand that the people have put on their leaders, for as long as leaders have, in theory, had to answer to their people, has been met with, well, how are we going to pay for it? And now, when it's their asses on the line, we see that money is just a fairy tale. They can pull it out of thin air and use it to prop up their interests. They can, in one day, conjure up unfathomable amounts of money to solve their problems. But we're still shit out of luck. $1.5 trillion out of thin air. And that's a big number. Human brains aren't good at understanding big numbers, so just to put that in context, if you made $100,000 a year, that'd be your salary for 15 million years. And let's be honest here, you definitely don't make $100,000 a year. You make barely enough to scrape by because the people who got the 1.5 trillion don't think you're worth paying a decent living. They get the money because they can manage it. They can use it wisely in ways that ordinary people would squander it, pissing it away on useless shit like food or housing. But they know how to make a small blip on a line graph for a few hours. Can you do that? No, you're a dum-dum who's just gonna feed your family. Grow up. And isn't it just so hard to believe them now? Like, all of their posturing towards being a superior class of people, the guys who understand how everything really works, the only ones who can get anything done, it's all just show business. All of it. Not just electoral politics, everything we see from anyone who has any power, it's theater. They're not smarter than us. We don't need them. And they don't know what they're doing. Super genius real-life Iron Man maverick CEO of the tech companies of tomorrow, Elon Musk, somersaulting into a crisis by sending CPAP machines to hospitals instead of ventilators and then wasting people's valuable time insisting that they're the same thing, time that they could be using to save people's lives. And it's all just to protect his ego, just to make him feel like a big man. Legislators using emergency response bills to sneak in legislation to keep trans people from changing their gender on government documents. Are we seriously expected to believe that that is a priority during the greatest pandemic in a century? Like, even if we're all in on transphobia, even if we accept their bigoted premises, which would be enough to make us mad, is that really where our energy should be focused right now? Is this the time to just throw red meat to your base instead of actually protecting people? Look at all of the things that they swore up and down were impossible just weeks ago, and now get implemented in like a week? The government doing UBI, telecoms, waiving bandwidth caps, Nook Incorporated, letting you pay your home loan in Nook miles. All of it can be done. The people in charge just don't want it to be done. Anyway, eyeballs, they're spooky. Eldritch horror, etc. Lovecraft. You know the thing. Hello and welcome to the Eyeball Zone. I don't know what to be doing right now, and I'm kind of spinning my wheels, but a lot of people are organizing and helping to coordinate a unified resistance at genstrike.org. They're helping to organize a general strike, or at least the closest thing we can manage to one right now, given the unique circumstances we find ourselves in. A lot of people don't like this type of organizing and talk about it like it's quixotic LARPing. You're never going to get anything done that way. Just you can't fix capitalism with internet, and it's so fucking exhausting to me. Organizing is always worthwhile, even if it doesn't necessarily reach its stated goals, even if it fails, because the most important thing right now is to build networks of organizations, activists, and mutual aid groups. Those contacts don't go away even if the campaign ends. Even if it ends poorly, it gets people together. It helps people fight back long term. And it doesn't have to end poorly because, need I remind you, there's a lot more of us than there are of them. And when the fuck do you expect better material conditions to arise for resistance than right now? Do you have a project you'd like to see featured here on the Eyeball Zone? Send no more than one email to thoughtslimeeditor@gmail.com with the word eyeballs somewhere in the subject line. Please include pertinent details like your pronouns, and perhaps you will find yourself trapped here in the dang old eyeball zone. Getting through it, I'm doing the video. I'm doing the whole video. Never been more clear that all of the work that they, and when I say they, I mean the ruling class, not like the Illuminati, put into convincing us that they have things under control. It's not because they have some grand vision that will make our lives better. It's because they know that acting like they're uniquely qualified to hold power will help them hold on to power. Everything from the way that they dress, to the way that they comport themselves, to the policies they choose to support, it's all a persona. They're all just wrestlers. Look at someone like Justin Trudeau, pictured here. The calming voice of reasonability, the unflappably calm and collected, middle-of-the-road handsome boy. He's a babyface. He's a good guy wrestler. That's his persona. That's what he shows us. But it's not who he is, obviously, because his personality before entering politics was markedly different.
Tu vois, t'étais réellement inquiet, là. Il était réellement pas trop sûr si je l'avais bien.
Also, when asked by reporters if now is the time to push forward on building the Coastal GasLink pipeline, given that the people protesting it are now forced to remain inside under quarantine, his only response was that he has every confidence that the company would act in accordance with health and safety guidelines, which I'm sure is of great comfort to the descendants of people who have been consistently attacked, often deliberately, by illnesses we settlers have inflicted on them. Great job, Mr. Prime Minister. That is not good guy shit. Now look at Donald Trump, the guy with the shitty haircut who keeps telling everybody how much smarter he is than everyone else. The guy who insults everyone, gives them all demeaning nicknames, and lashes out at anyone who gives him a question that isn't couched in fawning praise.
You said that you don't take responsibility, but you did disband the White House Pandemic Office, and the officials that were working in that office left this administration abruptly. So what responsibility do you take to that?
Well, I just think it's a nasty question because what we've done is, and Tony has said numerous times that we've saved thousands of lives because of the quick closing. And when you say me, I didn't do it. We have a group of people. I could ask perhaps my administration, but I could perhaps ask Tony about that because I don't know anything about it.
Man!
He's a heel. He's a wrestling bad guy. His fans like him because he pisses off the people they don't like. Like me, for example. I've been pissed off every single second of my life for like 4 years straight, at least. Trump doesn't understand much, but he understands this dynamic better than almost anyone else in politics. That it doesn't really matter whether people like you or hate you. What matters is that they're talking about you. What matters is that they're paying attention to you. Why do you think he's always bragging about his TV ratings? The more people pay attention to him, the more he's going to look important and serious to some people. How do you think he shored up the Republican nomination so easily? All of the other candidates were trying to be likable, when they should have just leaned in to how naturally unlikable they are. Make a brand out of your unique obnoxiousness. They're not fun to watch. They're not fun characters. But this guy you love to hate. This guy tells a story. And watch too how liberals lean into it. How come they can make fun of his silly costume, of his personal affect, the way that he says the word huge, but not really his policies. Sure, they're performatively mad the children are put in cages, but they don't care that their guy did it first. And don't call them concentration camps. That's divisive. Stick to calling him Cheeto Mussolini, because his tan is bad, see? That's the message that'll win over voters. Vote for us, because the other guy is ugly. That's why satire is dead, because the persona of all of our public figures is already a pastiche. When you make fun of them, it's like making fun of pro wrestlers for being fake. Everyone knows. Nobody cares. That's what makes it fun. And that's all this is to them. Fun. A play. And I don't understand how anyone can buy it anymore. I don't understand how anyone can truly respect the authority of these people on either side. I don't understand how anyone, in light of the crisis that faces us right now, can remain invested in what they have to say, when so often what they have to say turned out to be, don't worry about it, or, yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all I got for this week. I'm not doing great. Hello everyone, thank you for watching my video. Please press the like button and also subscribe to me here on youtube.com. You can also catch me streaming every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/thoughtslime. I hope you're all staying healthy and taking care of one another right now. I know it's a hard time for people, and I don't really know what to say, but I don't know if I'm necessarily in a place to provide comfort at the moment. That's my situation right now. Can't really be useful, but I can farm like 100 tarantulas in Animal Crossing New Horizons. That's where I'm at emotionally. So take that how you will. Goodbye.